Hey, brothers and sisters, this is Toby Younis of the Gypsy Kiss. Thanks for joining me tonight. We got some emails to read. We got some text messages. I'm sure we've got some voicemails, and we'll open up those call lines, see what's happening tonight. As you can see, my business partner, Shelley, isn't here tonight. Shelley is traveling and won't be back until next Wednesday's show. But I did talk to her today, and she's having a great time at the conference that she's at. It's one of those conferences that starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and goes until 9 o'clock at night. She's got to do that for 3 days, so they're not headed back from Austin until Monday. So we'll miss her, okay? Join me in missing Shelley tonight. So I noticed that Mike and Christy put out a video this morning, a live stream from their hotel room in Detroit. So it looked like they were having a good time. And they made it there. They, too, made it there safely. So let's get on with the...
Housekeeping, you want towels?
You don't only want towels, you probably need towels. So remember to like this video. YouTube likes it when you like our videos, as do Mike and Christy. They like it when you like our videos, and we like it when you like their videos. Share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, your business associates, the entirety of your social network so that we can, I can't do this without it, grow the channel. And then finally, if you're not already a subscriber, click on that subscribe button. You'll see the notifications bell. Ring the notifications bell, and that way every time we start a live stream or we schedule a live stream, you will be informed and immediately in the know. Hey, William, good evening. Notice how William has taken the time to highlight our name with the @ Gypsy's Kiss. You have to use the spaces and the apostrophe. And that way I'll see it here. It'll highlight it for me as the chat is going by. We don't have that many people in the room right now, but it'll get busier later. So make sure if you want to reach out and you have a question, boom, use that @ Gypsy's Kiss to do it. That way I'll see it. Otherwise it goes bloom, going screaming by. In addition to that, of course, you can send at this time, since the phone lines are off, you can send a text message to 202-815-1171. You can see the number right there. You can also call right now and leave a voicemail, and then later on we'll read those text messages and play them. I've got a lozenge in my mouth, so excuse me while I'm going to get rid of it. Hold on. Oops. Oh, excuse me for just a second. Hi, baby doll. What's up? So, is this urgent? Well, I'm in the middle of a show. Yeah, an AGK. Yeah. How late are you going to be up? Yeah. All right. I will call you tomorrow then, all right? Give Francis a hug for me. Love you. Bye-bye. Sorry, that was my youngest daughter, Toby Renee. And so whenever she calls, I know she knows I do a show. She probably just never timed right. She just got back from traveling, so she wants to tell me. I'm sure she wants to talk about her travels. She works for a company called Toby, Tobii, Toby Pro, and they do eye tracking for the large corporations. So she gets to travel all over the world with these products. So she's having a lot of fun. Where was I? Housekeeping. Call in. Corey Jacobs, that's another way you can reach out to us. Corey Jacobs is giving us a $10 super chat. Thank you for that, Corey Jacobs. And the way that you do that is if you go down to the bottom of your chat window, you'll see a stylized but grayed out $sign. Click on that $sign, and YouTube has smartly given you the way to walk through that process if you'd like to contribute to our project. Our project being A Gypsy's Kiss. I do want to remind everybody that next week on Wednesday, we've got some prizes, some giveaway. And the giveaways include a package that includes the Yellowstone National Park silver commemorative coin. It includes the Civil War secret decoder thingy that I got from the Spy Museum when I was in Washington, D.C. And it also includes one of the medium-sized 3D bronze Forrest Fenn Treasure chests that have the magnetic top on it. So that would make a great box to put some of the engagement ring in. So anyway, we give them away on Wednesdays. That means you have to go back to last Wednesday's show in order to participate. Go back to last Wednesday's show and make a comment. That's all you have to do is make a comment. Now, it doesn't make any difference how many you make because it picks out the unique ones. It only picks one of your comments to compete against all the others. Last Wednesday we had 54 unique comments from the previous Wednesday. So you have a great opportunity to win. Oh, by the way, William, if you're watching now or later, William, I got somewhere at there. Let's see if I got this here. Okay, William Ortiz was the winner of the bear last week. I also sent him one of the medium-sized treasure chests. So, William, that went in the mail today. It's a USPS priority. I don't know if it'll get out tonight, but you should have it at the latest Wednesday, but more likely on Tuesday of next week. So I think you said you were going to give the bear to your granddaughter, so I hope she enjoys that. All right? So make sure that before next Wednesday, you go back and go back to last Wednesday's show, the Wednesday of this week. So that would have been the 20th, and make a comment. That's all you need to do to qualify for winning the prizes. All right. I don't think you even have to be a subscriber to do that. You just have to make a comment. So let's see what else. So there's that. As you can see. Oh, so next week we'll do shows on Wednesday and Friday of next week, even though it's a Thanksgiving holiday. I am having a Thanksgiving dinner at my house with family and friends, but that's on Thursday. Celebrate Black Friday however you do. I don't do anything. I get on Amazon and see if there's any good deals. And then we'll have another show on Friday. All right? So we'll be around next week. We will not, for those of you in the member vault, we will not be doing the Thursday member vault meeting. Oh, it's tough. It's a Theraflu. I'm taking that Theraflu just to help me get through it. Okay, I think we can start with. Let me see. William, you don't have to pay for the bear. The idea is that you enjoy the bear, give it to your granddaughter. But thank you anyway. Thanks again. Thank you for your nice contribution. I know what's wrong. My glasses are in the wrong position. Here we go. So I just got a text message all short for them. They did no name, no address, and they say, "Did you just call your daughter baby doll?" Yes, I did call my 30-year-old daughter. I call all my daughters baby doll, even the one that's, what is she? She's let's see, she was 72, so she'd be 43 now. I call all my daughters baby doll, and I used to call my wives baby doll, and I call other women that have been in my life baby dolls. Kind of my favorite name. Sweetie and baby doll are the two. So yeah, it's just a thing. They know it. I think they like it. They've never told me not to call them baby doll, even as they've gotten older. So I want to tell you a story. I was 13 years old, and I was leaving, at the time I was attending St. Michael's High School, which is still a school in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's a Christian Brothers school. At the time, it was an all boys Catholic school that had boarding students and day students. Although I lived in Santa Fe, I went to, I was a rebellious, troubled child. I wasn't troubled, I guess I was rebellious. It was after my father had passed away. So they sent me to St. Mike's as a boarding student. And on this day, let's see, it would be 56 years ago. I remember I was walking back from the cafeteria, and we had your standard cafeteria fare. And if I remember correctly, it was a Friday, so we didn't have any meat. That was back when Catholics didn't eat meat. It was probably cornbread and beans. And I was walking back from the cafeteria, and at the time we used to wear suits, sports jackets, and ties, and so we all looked the same. And there was a group of guys that I knew from the football team, and the reason it was so visible is because one of them was a guy whose name was John Blea, and John was, I don't know, he was a sophomore like me at the time, and but he was 6'4" and he weighed 250 pounds, and he was one of the linemen on our football team. I was a running back. So he and I had a good friendship because he would protect my, as you can tell, I'm a lot smaller than that. So anyway, they were all standing around in groups, but there was one group of whom I recognized, and I was coming back from lunch with a good friend of mine whose name was Mike Sandoval. Mike went on to become a dentist. He and his brother both became dentists. And they were standing around in huddled groups, and they were all listening to transistor radios. Now, I'm not sure if any of you remember what a transistor, if you're as old as I am. Transistor radio was a small battery-powered radio that big. It usually had an antenna, and it usually had a place for an earphone, or you could listen to the speaker, and it picked up AM and later on FM radio shows. But the news of the day, as we were coming back, at lunchtime was the assassination of President Kennedy, and that happened on November 22nd, 1963, and I still have a very visible memory of that day. And a lot of the young men were crying. President Kennedy was our first Catholic president, and at that time I was still pretty much Catholic. So there was a lot of crying and wondering and curiosity, and the Christian Brothers gathered us. They got us back all into our classrooms, and we had this open discussion on what was happening. There were some evaluations that it was the Russians, and that this was the beginning of some Russian plot after the assassination. And of course, over the next few days, that wore down, and it just became the assassination of a handsome, smart, wonderful president that we would all miss. And I was visiting the Veterans Hospital today to pick up some medication, and they had a picture of him in one of the hallways with a dedication today, even though it wasn't like a 50 or 60 or 70 years. And it brought back all those memories came rushing back. So I hope we live in a place where that never happens again for any reason, no matter whether you like a president or not. That's not the right way to do it. We have a constitutional way to do it in voting. We have a alternative constitutional way to do it in terms of the impeachment, if that's what it takes. But I hope that never again happens in my lifetime or any of our lifetimes. So we survived it. We were made better for it. I think we were made stronger for it. I think we have a long way to go in terms of returning to that level of strength. And the conspiracy theories, it's amazing how the conspiracy theories still revolve around that particular day. But you get a chance, if you don't know who he was, take a look at who he was. He was a good man, had a wonderful family. And the Kennedys, the Kennedy family, they were a wealthy family. But they had this series of, they had more tragedies per single family than any family that I've ever known personally. I mean, we had people who had family members pass away, but the Kennedys, for as much as they gave to the country, all of them, you'd think they would have had less tragedy in their life, but it was just a series of tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. They were always in the news for something negative, something bad happening to the family. So, but they were good people, and they were great They were great. They all served their country either in the military and or politics. So they knew they knew the meaning of service, even though they were a wealthy family. So just think about that. November 22nd brought back all those memories for me. Okay, let's do. I'm going to pop another thing here because my throat is getting dry. Let's do some emails. Oh, Eric Schmidt. Is Eric Schmidt in the room? Hey, I do want to say thank you to our moderators in the room tonight. That include Eric Schmidt, Greg Keller. Let's see, Holly's in the room. I haven't seen Sassy recently, and I know Christy's going to be. She's traveling, doing the Detroit thing, so she's not going to be around. So, also Toby Fan 3000, John Warner. So thank them. They're the guys that carry the wrenches and keep it sane in the room. But Eric, I did get that email from you regarding the BBC article on the world is running out of sand. I don't know whether you noticed, but the article was written by Vince Beiser, who's the guy that I've been talking about on our sand channel. And he wrote the book, in a grain of sand. So he's the expert. He's the journalist that kind of started publicizing the idea that, sand mafia, sand wars, sand mining, etc. So, but it was a great article. It's it's a very nice summary of his thinking, and it was handy to have. I read it in one sitting, and it's now in my 3-ring binder of those kinds of articles. So, Eric, thank you for that. So this is from, the title of the email is 2 questions. It's from Secondhand Louie, but I'm looking at their, so their email is Oh, that's interesting. So his email, I won't give you the full email, is Tier O Carré. It looks like Tier A ou car, but it's French. And it means throw a square. That's interesting. So his email address is throw a square in French. Shelley and Toby, I haven't ever heard you talk about the Homer Brown. Are you kidding me? I'm always talking about it. But, all right. Since you share pretty much everything else, why haven't you talked about the Homer Brown? And it said there's 2 questions. That was number 1. Number 2, a couple of shows ago, you said you were 100% confident that the 9 clues in the poem started at begin at where warm waters halt and ended the quest to cease. Why are you 100% confident of that? Wow, 2 why questions in 1 email. But I will answer them nonetheless. Thanks. I really enjoy watching your shows, Luis. So maybe he is French. Or Louis. So let's deal with the first one first. I haven't ever heard you talk about the Homer Brown, since you share pretty much. There's an everything missing. Pretty much everything else. Why haven't you talked about the Homer Brown? I don't. The chase consists of a broad number of people, each of whom have their opinions and who have built up a certain level of confidence in their opinions. But that's all they are, because none of us have the treasure. The reason I don't talk about mine a lot is because they're just my opinions, and I don't want to force my opinions on everybody else unless somebody has a question on it. So I can tell you kind of where I am with the Homer Brown, and I've got my thinking on the Homer Brown has evolved over the years. So, but I will advise you, I have no idea what the Homer Brown is. Here's what I can say about it. The Homer Brown is one of 3 things. It's either a person, a place, or a thing. And the thing can be subdivided into 2 subcategories, and they could be animate objects or inanimate objects. So let me give you some examples. A person could be Ranger Brown, the place where Ranger Brown lived, or that place up in Colorado, in south central Colorado, called the Homer Brown Canyon or something like that, and it says Homer Brown. It was named after a gentleman. So that's the person. Brown's Canyon is named after a person. So that's the person. The place could be Brown Canyon or Brown Rock or the Brown River or the Brown. So it's a location, a geographic location on a map, a place. The alternatives is that it could be a thing, and the thing could include probably inanimate objects. The inanimate objects could be they wouldn't have a name. They would be like I'm going to stretch here. So let's say there was a brown juniper tree, right? So it's inanimate, but it has a name. It has a proper name noun. So now we've looked at people with names, places with names, usually named after people, and then inanimate objects like trees or I wouldn't say like brown. If you had a place like Brown Rock, it would qualify as a place rather than inanimate object. So you could look for inanimate objects which have a species name of some kind of brown gemstone, brown like a garnet is kind of brownish. Garnet tends to be more brown than red. And then the last, of course, is animate. The animates, and the animates include things like brown bear, brown beaver, brown trout, brown. What else? What are the brown things that we have? So they're animate objects. They're living things that could be the name of brown. So those are all the possible categories. I lean towards the things. I lean towards the category of thing and inanimate objects. And I'll give you my best example because I started there, went someplace else, and came back to it. If you can find a lignite deposit. The lignite deposit, as we showed in some of our early videos, in the research in our early videos, is the basis for the color Van Dyke Brown, the oil Van Dyke Brown that was used and mentioned by Eric Sloan. So that's an inanimate object, is the Homa Brown in the sense that it's where the color came from, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where my thinking is. I don't know. I've recently kind of gone back to the lignite deposit because it matches a solution that I'm working on outside of the Rio de los Pinos, but inside New Mexico. But those are the categories, and until somebody can, identify the actual object with those categories, then we're all in the same boat. I think the challenge is, like all the other things in the poem that are represented by the clues, they have to have some sense of longevity. They have to be here in 100 years, maybe 1,000 years, so that you can identify them, or they have to have been able to identify them. You've heard me say this before, that people say, well, there's not going to be any trout fishing regulations in 1,000 years, New Mexico trout fishing regulations. Well, that is very likely correct, assuming we survive, the species survives that long. But the simple fact of the matter is, when you're looking for treasure, you're not looking for data related to the treasure in that time period. You're looking for data related to the treasure in the period in which you imagined it was hidden. So in this case, we're looking at the trout regulations in 2010 rather than the trout regulations. So the same is true when it comes to the Homa Brown. It has to have at least what I'd call recognizable longevity, meaning it may not exist sometime in the future. There may not be, I don't know, maybe we killed all the brown bears, so there's no more brown bears in the future, but we know the brown bears had a range in 2010 that extended from Canada down into Montana and someplace in Wyoming. So, could I hug a fluffy white coat? I don't know what you're asking me, Harry. But Harry Callahan. Well, Harry Callahan. You feel lucky, punk? So yeah, that's where I am on brown. So that's as much as I can give you. And you ask, why haven't I talked about it? It's like, okay, now you know. And the reason I haven't talked about it is because that's basically my opinion, my theory, and pretty much nobody in the room is going to agree with any of that, including you probably. So second question. A couple of shows ago, you said you were 100% confident that the 9 clues in the poem started at the beginning of where warm waters halt, and then ended at your quest to cease. Why are you 100%? I'm 100% confident because that's what Fenn told us, right? Fenn said I think it was in 2013, and he said it a couple of times since then. In the New Zealand radio interview, he says, begin at where warm waters halt is the first clue. And then he repeats it. It's the first clue. If you don't have that, don't go out looking for the treasure. And then recently, he was the interview with the woman from the Voice of America, the USIA Voice of America, which is actually a governmental institution, not a private institution. Voice of America. She asked him, and she asked him about the Terry Scant, but she asked him something else. Look quickly down, your quest to cease. She said something like, "Look quickly down. If I look quickly down, what will I see?" He said, "The treasure." And then she asked about about individuals interpreting Terry Scant as Tari Scant and that whole thing. And he said, no, it's Terry Scant. Get the heck out of there with your treasure chest. So that's not that. The 100% confidence comes from the fact, because those are both recordings of Forrest Fenn. I've heard Forrest Fenn tell me what the first and last clues are. So that's where my confidence comes from. The 100% confidence, because that's a first-person source. Can't beat that, huh? Oh, geez, what kind of night is this? So this is Big Joe from Montana. Big Joe. Shobi. He just combined Shelley and Toby. Shobi, I watched an old video of yours where Shelley said her keyword was halt, and Toby said his keyword was treasures. That's correct. We did make that video. Do you still feel the same way? Happy searching, Big Joe from Montana. Wow, it's giveaway Toby Secrets night. Well, it's not secrets. So here's the deal. So I believe that Shelley still believes her keyword is halt. I have kind of a different take on all of it since then. So when somebody's, Fenn has more often than not said people are overlooking a keyword in the poem, but he always uses the phrase key. He always uses key and word together, that phrase. And keyword in the community that I come from has a very specific meaning. And the meaning is that I'm giving you something that enables you to unlock something, right? It may be the only beginning. It may be a lock on a door that lets you into a dark cavern, and you have to do some other things. But the key gives me the ability to start that process, unlock it. Sometimes it's a key to a cipher. Sometimes it's a key to something else. Sometimes it's, our decoder thing, right? So in order to, what you're going to find if you read the instruction on the back, or if you've ever used one of these things, you're going to find on the back, in the way that you have to use this decoder is you have to have an agreement with the person that you're sending the encoded message to. They have to know what you're sending. If they just see a bunch of letters and numbers, it's not going to make any sense to them. So you're going to tell them in the first couple, you're going to say, here's my key word. Here's the key to this sentence or this set of words. And you can make that as dynamic as you want. But in order for the person to understand the message, they have to know what your key is. And if they don't, it's just a bunch of gobbledygook, right? And it's the same, in Vietnam, the VC radios used to transmit in their messages in 5-digit blocks. So they do 5 numbers: 5, 4, 7, 3, 2, space 6, 1, 7, and our guys needed to interpret that, and then that was taken to a crypto analyst. And they would break down those codes into letters and numbers, et cetera, et cetera. That changed every day because they were working with a daily pad. But what made it work was every Vietnamese communist radio person on that day knew the key for that day, so they could understand each other's codes. So when Fenn says we're missing the key, or we're not, and he always says key word. So the impression you get is that there's some word in the poem that should give you some insight into unlocking the rest of the poem. So the reason I thought it was treasure is because treasures had 9 letters, about 9 sentences, 9 clues. It's the only word in the poem that has 9 letters. So that's what I thought. But then I couldn't figure out, so what? What does it unlock? What's the lock that I'm trying to get this key for? And so I've worked on, that's where I focused recently. So I tried the ciphers. That's my field. I know how to play with them. I know how to encode. I know how to decode. I know how to play all of those games. And of course, he's often said, you're not going to, I don't know if he's actually used the phrase, but he gives you the impression that that's not how he wrote the poem. It's not ciphers. So over the past year or so, I've come to the conclusion that the key word is a word that gives us an insight into the context in which the poem was written. And I'm just going to give you, these are just examples. I'm not saying this is fact. I'm just saying there is a word in that poem, and you can work at whatever you believe it is. And the lock that you're unlocking is the lock to the context of the poem. And what I mean by that is that word tells you what he was thinking about. You remember that there was an email from a group of kids, and one of this was a couple of years ago, if not more than that. And one of the kids asked the question, when you were writing the poem, you were thinking about fishing? That's paraphrased. I don't know what he said exactly. Oh, 3D 3D Bronze. Thank you, sir, for that contribution. Make sure you visit 3D Bronze at 3dbronze.com. He's the one that's has provided all these damned interesting, hold on, gifts, including, he sells these on his website. He's got a treasure chest. It's got a magnetic top on it. And inside the treasure chest, there's a place for a holder, and you can take all of that out. It'll hold your Fenn treasure coin, and then you can take that out, and you've got a little treasure box in there. So 3D Bronze, we're going to figure out that Shelley didn't want to give this one away. She wants to keep it because she's Shelley and she can. But we're going to order some more from 3D Bronze, and we'll put stuff in them and give them away to you guys. Okay? I think this, the one that I kept for myself, the Civil War sticker decoder, I'm going to put one of those in there. Maybe we'll give that one away so that you have, because I have another one of those. So where was I? So my sense is the word in the poem to which he keeps referring, the word that is key, unlocks the lock of context. And what I mean by that, I started to tell you, remember the kids? He asked him a question about, were you thinking about fishing when you wrote the poem? Right? And the implication of that question is that young man or woman was trying to figure out what the context was. What were you thinking about when you wrote the poem? And he said, no, I was thinking about writing the poem, right? One of the classic Fenn answer. But that's what I think we're missing. I think we're missing the context. So the poem is written in the context of something. And the something could be any one of, and you don't have to have specialized knowledge. You just have to know, you just have to know that he had an interest in it. So if you think about the things that Fenn had an interest in, he had an interest in Native American culture and artifacts, including going back to when he was 9 years old and he found that first arrowhead. He had minor understanding of archaeology, maybe a little bit of paleontology because he spent some time in Wyoming. He had to understand a little bit about anthropology, certainly history, especially history of the West, fishing, flying, art, and writing. So there's a number of areas of expertise that he's knowledgeable enough in for him to be able to do that for a while. You could have a conversation with him about Native American artifacts, and he could go on for hours, or any other of those subjects. So the question is, can that key word help us unlock the context in which this poem, especially the 9 clues between begin at where and quest to cease, that context in which the poem was written? And I think that's what he means when he's talking about the key word, my opinion. And I hope that I have, who was that? Big Joe from Montana. Now, I can't also tell you that Shelley hasn't changed her perspective. She still believes the key word is halt, and that I don't know that we've ever talked about what it leads to. So, last email, and this one is a long one. I'm going to chew my candy again. Hold on. Okay. So this is from, it's entitled A Requiem for a Dream, and it's written by Reynaldo Vasquez. He says, hey, Toby and Shelley. I should be cautious about a letter that starts, an email that starts with, I had a random dream, because there are no short random dreams. I know, because I like talking about my dreams, and they're never short. But I'm going to read it anyway. I had a random dream. I dreamed that I had helped Forrest carry the chest to the spot. But there was one last thing he wanted to put in the chest that till this day he has yet to disclose what it is. Well, in my dream, I got to see it. We were both sitting on a bank near the Browns' house while I fished and he wrote a letter to Peggy. I urged him to hurry, and this is his dream, of course, since it was getting dark and the bears were quite hungry that time of year. Giving my concern some thought, he said, quote, you're right, and you didn't catch any fish to give to them if they show up, unquote. I didn't let him see the look of disapproval on my face, knowing his crash course on fly fishing didn't help. But he was quick to confess there were no longer any fish in the bend I was fishing on, since it is no longer part of the river. I stood there stumped at the fact I got swindled by Forrest himself, since he charged me $1 and a can of Dr. Pepper for the lesson. But he promised to take me to his second favorite fishing spot at Rumbaugh Creek. As he slipped the note to Peggy inside the chest and closed the lid for the last time, I glanced at the top of the rocky hill in front of us to make sure no one was overlooking the area and seen us hide the chest. We then proceeded to walk into the woods behind us for about 500 paces in a southerly direction along an imaginary line that could only be seen from high above the hill or on a map, the right map. He then placed the chest under a small log about 10 feet from the base of a tall tree and said, farewell. To my bewilderment, he asked me to go back to the car alone. I remember looking back and seeing him sitting on the log on top of the chest with that eccentric smile of his, one that I returned with a sense of accomplishment that could have only come from remembering the special things that brought us together to that special spot. I walked out of the woods, around the bend, and crossed the river. As I sat in the driver's seat, I noticed Forrest had forgotten his hat on the passenger seat. I said to myself, Forrest, did you really just do that? At the thought of me having to walk back to return his hat. I felt he did it on purpose, even though I could have sworn he was wearing it the last time I saw him. But I wanted to make sure I returned it to him. I walked back, but to my surprise, he was not sitting on the log. Actually, he was nowhere to be found. And then it hit me. The peace and solitude that could only come from being out there in the wilderness alone where we belong. To reflect on the happenings that marked our passage through the breaks and thickets of our lives. I placed the hat on the big log, but I woke up and don't remember if I looked under it to see if the chest was there or not. Maybe it was just a dream within a dream. Hopefully, if it is still there, waiting to hear for the soft clump of a boot nearby, hoping they kick over that log and lay eyes on indulgence for the first time. Thanks for reading this, and it's okay to share it. Ronaldo. Well, I'm glad he put in the okay to share it, because that would have been embarrassing. Well, thank you, Ronaldo. That was very nice story. I like writing. I like reading good writing. And we'll do some editing for you next time. Well, look at that. Odin, thank you for those 10 euros. Odin, thank you for being my company on a Wednesday and Friday night. Love listening to Toby and reading all your comments. Awesome community. Yes, they are, Odin. They are indeed. And thank you for your contribution to our project. So let's go back and I would be remiss had I... Let's see. There we go. I always feel like if I don't, I'm somehow missing the opportunity if Shelley's not here, but just remind me. All right, let's say hi to the folks in the room. Captain Marvel was first in the room. Jack is there. Doug Carver from Prince Edward Island in Canada. LR, the Bear, is in the room. Tony Russi, Charles Chapman. Charles, thank you for that correction. The other night we were talking about presidents and dollar bills, and I said that Thomas Jefferson was on the $5 bill. Charles corrected me. It is Abraham Lincoln on the $5 bill. Thomas Jefferson is on the $2 bill, which I should know because I have a, and I don't know where I got them. I think I was going to get them like to give away for a Christmas present. I have 100 $2 bills in a wrapper, that I've carried around with me for 20 years. It's always Russia. It is Russia. Russia is not our friend, Jack. So, let's see. Alan Kay, long way to Tipperary, remembers that day as well. So he's at least as old as I am, within 13 years. Christopher Robin of the famous Robin family. M.A. Hammock. Davio, 22 is in the room. E.S. says, please. I don't know what he's saying, please. Let's see. William Sparky. MJ Inser's in the room. Long way, but let's see. We said him. Jungle Cruiser. Ob Ord. Wow, Ob Ord. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice to see you back. Wonder what else you've been doing. Jimmy Fast is in the room. Hey, Jimmy. Epstein did not kill himself. We're going to do conspiracy theories tonight. I think there's somebody's doing an investigation of that. There's something more there. Steve Klein is in the room. Nice to see you, Steve. Let's see. Who else am I missing? A bunch of guys in the room. Shat's K9 Treasure Hunter. The town of Brown. Yeah. Not important. I like that name. It's not important. It's up, welcome. Not important. I don't remember seeing your name before, so forgive me if you have been in the room. Let's go down the room box. I don't see any questions. Have you ever read about the similarities of Kennedy and Lincoln? I actually saw a documentary on that, LR, a long, long time ago. And it was based on a book. Somebody wrote a book, and then they did a documentary. So I remember the documentary. But, yeah, there were some interesting coincidences. Like Kennedy had a administrative assistant named Lincoln, and Lincoln had an administrative assistant named Kennedy, those kinds of things. So a bunch of interesting coincidences. Oh, so we're going to go. Christopher Robin says, Oswald fled to a theater, Lincoln shot in a theater. Yeah. Theaters played a part in both of those assassinations. Hooley's in the room. Hi, Hooley. MJ Inzer. I already said that, didn't I? Let me see. Harry Callahan. Dirty Harry. Harry Callahan from San Francisco Police Department. Anyone trying Starbucks Christmas brew? It's because Starbucks has its new flavors out. Let's see. Who else? Alan Kay's in the room. 23 Monarchas got here. All the late arrivals. Question from Harry Callahan. Gypsy's Kiss. Toby, could you hug a fluffy white cat so we can see the rest of your body? Let's see. So it was, we had our first kind of winter day today. I know up north they got a lot more snow. Oh, which reminds me. So Scrapbook 238 is Forrest's annual warning to not, he's got some snow in Santa Fe, so he's warning everybody not to go out in the weather. And he published Scrapbook 239 tonight. But it's about this time of the year, right? Tim Molina's in the room asking ES if he's giving himself a timeout. I don't know what's going on there. Stacy Harwood. Toby could be Brown, be Crown. Tony, did I say hi, Tony Russi? Yeah. Davio 22. Let's see. I think that's everybody. Belva Jenkins in the room. Isn't Belva from New Orleans, isn't she? Or is she Tennessee? She's the South. I just remember the South. Okie Tarman. Box Sounds in the room. Missouri Dave. I just read a message from Montana Joe, or Joe Montana, I guess. Jack, Tony Russi, 3D Bronze. Thanks for the contribution, 3D. Odin, Gypsy's Kiss. Being in Ireland, I'll never find the treasure. You could not if you're not here, but if you could get here. The treasure for me is interacting with the community and meeting people I'd never normally meet. I'd read your passionate memoirs, sir. Thank you. Shelley's always trying to talk me into writing my memoirs. because let's see, Brian Eagle's in the room. Hi, Brian Eagle. I saw you had a great comment and read it today, or not today, but I read it today on Reddit, Brian. I thought it was very enlightening, but I can't remember what it was. Odin says, the Gypsy Kiss, the poem was originally for Santa Fe residents. It only got bigger when it became national. It would force them to do a treasure chest for the locals to go states and states far. Yeah, that's our logic, Odin. Not everybody's going to agree on that, but our logic has always been, why would you write a book, publish 1,000 copies of it, put it in a single store in Santa Fe so that your friends could read it and tell you how cool you were? And that's why we always have believed it's in New Mexico. Now, once it went, we have a video out there called Forrest Fenn Discovered the Rocky Mountains in 2013, because with the publishing of Too Far to Walk, that's when it became a Rocky Mountain search. Prior to that time, it was the Rocky Mountains were never mentioned and the states were never mentioned. As a matter of fact, to this day, he has never used the following sentence: the treasure will be found in one of 4 states, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana. He's never said that. He says the Rocky Mountains. Amy Smith wants that secret decoder. Well, Amy, make sure that you go to last Wednesday's show, the show of the 20th, and make a comment so that you can get in on the competition. And for those of you that watch us on Wednesdays, you know that we use commentpicker.com to select a person at random to win, and we send it to them, as I did Williams Prize from last week. Captain Marvel, I think that's Box Sound. Michael Wimmer, feels funny to be missed. Did I say I missed you? Yeah, we missed you. All right, that looks like the bottom of Redneck Express. There is, what is the... Oh, I don't know. Everybody needs an intersection. I've heard that it's in one of the forums they were writing about it. I don't know where it comes from, so I can't make a comment on it. Time out, Theraflu. Oh my God, that tastes terrible. But it's supposed to help you sleep, and it has helped me sleep. All right, that is the bottom. Let's go on to, I've only got a couple of text messages, but we will play the text. Boom. Okay, let's see what we have in the way of text messages. Let me pull the phone out of the wire to make it easier to read. This is from 617. This is a bit off topic from the Chase and the Sand Project, but he reminded me of the Sand Project. Is also a fun channel to watch. They're extracting oil from sand in the video. Oops, it says something went wrong. So I don't know. I'll have to look that up later. Oh, this is from Sparky. So Sparky was trying to reach out. I told him we'd talk to him in the show. He can call in once we open up the phone lines. Well, that's it. Well, that's it from messages. Oh. Jim in Ohio writes, now you have more than a couple of text messages. Thank you, Jim. I now have 3 with you, including yours. So it's more than a couple. You're right. Thank you for that. All right, let's look at voicemails. I don't know if we have any voicemails. Let's see if we got any voicemails here. Okay, we do, but again, these are all from Sparky, and I've gone through them, so we don't have any new ones. Let me delete these. Okay, all right, well, you know what? You know what time it is? Corey, I think I can't open it because it is, but please do. Corey, send that YouTube video to gypsyskiss@gmail.com. I'd like to see it. So, because we're going to keep, I did get a sample of sand I'm not going to talk about sand on this show, but I did get a sample of sand from Wisconsin, which is the sand from Wisconsin and Minnesota that they use for fracking. So we're going to be doing a show on the combination of the sand and fracking. All right, so let me call first. The phone lines are open, but let me do this. Text message. Oh, it's also from Jim. He said, "What would make you reconsider Montana?" As usual for me, Jim, it's just an unassailable theory. I don't have one. I had what I thought of was a pretty good one, but then Fenn spoiled it all. Forrest spoiled it all by sending that journalist to my location. So I don't think he would do that. I don't think he would send a journalist to a location where the treasure is. So yeah, I don't know. I suppose I'd have to go back up there and look around again. I had a couple of theories for Montana, but none of them very credible. So I don't. I guess I don't know the answer to that question. It would take a hell of a theory, is the bottom line, and I don't have one for right now. Jack, the lead searcher is a myth. I'll continue to say that until proven otherwise. And I am very highly confident that the lead searcher is a myth. There's no reason for a lead searcher to exist. Okay, so phone lines are open, but I told Sparky that I'd call him, so let's call Sparky. William Sparks in Utah. See what he's got to say.
You have reached Sparky's Plumbing. I'm not available.
Well, I did what I did. I promised I would call. Phone lines are open. Give me a call. Let's talk about what I'd like you to do. If you're the lead searcher, call in so I can figure out why you think you're the lead searcher. So anybody who thinks they're the lead searcher, call in and explain your rationale, so the rest of us can understand. Because honestly, we don't get it. I say we, and as in the imperial we. What do I do with the? Oh, right there. It's Davio. How can we not have? How can we not take a call from Davio? Hey, Davio.
Hey, how's it going there, Mr. Toby, sir?
Well, so far it would be better if Shelley was here, but I can't have everything.
I know. Life without our princess,
Yeah.
man. It's kind of like what's a noble knight to do without his princess?
You know what's
Bloody hell.
you know what's even worse is she's having a good time.
Probably with her husband, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, well, she's having a good
shit.
time. She's having a good time at this conference that she's at. So.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Well, that's outstanding.
Yeah.
Yay. She's like fairy dust walking through the world, spreading happiness and joy. Bless her, one and all.
Bless her, one and all. Waving her wand.
I got something for you.
Okay, give it to me, brother.
I got you some juice. Okay, let's turn to page 111 in
Oh,
our
hold on.
book
Let me get the book.
of the thrill of the chase here, ladies and gentlemen of the church and the congregation of the chase. Please grab the book. Page 1111.
Okay, go ahead.
111. Interesting that there's red ink on that page.
There is, as a matter of fact, I'd like to show you something. So
There's only another.
Hold on.
Let me get to my point, and then you can shoot back to it.
Wait,
no?
hold it.
Okay, I'm standing by. Talk to me. Something's going on. I'm looking at the screen. I have sound turned down and everything delayed. Wait, a box of cookies? What are you doing? What's happening?
Okay, go ahead.
Here.
Go ahead.
Okay. So,
Red
so,
ink. Please do not touch. And then
please do not touch.
and then of course
That's
Fenn
right.
had those signs that
Interesting.
said.
Well, let us pause there for a moment here
All
with
right.
the red ink in itself. As you look up the word iron oxide, you will notice that it is 111. So the very ink itself, just iron oxide, the very thing he was sliding down on his pants, the iron
Wait.
deal with his rump. He's what?
Go back one paragraph. How do you get
Okay, backing up one paragraph?
where
Yes.
does the 111? How does iron oxide become 111? I don't understand that.
Because as I just looked up on Wikipedia, it says there is in parentheses 111. So it says iron oxide 111 because there is a different variant of it, which is also known as 2. So there's variants of iron oxide, but the one that pops up straight away was 111. I thought that an interesting coincidence because there's other places where this 111 comes up as well.
Where?
For instance, when he is watching Dancing with the Stars or Dancing with the Millennium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, he's watching. If you take the date that is happening at that time, you will get Emmett Smith, who is Emmett Smith the third. He's the football player that won the that year, right?
I remember Emmett Smith.
The same year.
He used to play for the Dallas
he's
Cowboys.
the football player that was on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, Emmett Smith was on Dancing with the Stars?
And that third year, there's the 3 again, he was the one that won. So you get that third right there. So Dancing with the Stars, the very year that he was watching, you got Emmett Smith. Now this gets you to football rings and all, it gets you into the world of sports right away with that little tiny connection. Those are the kind of subtle is very important, right? Subtle connections. Those are the kind of things that I
Okay, so explain to me now.
all
Now
over the
let's.
place.
I'm going to do a Shelley on you, right? The magical treasure
Shock
pinches. The magical treasure pinches would say, "How does that get you closer to the treasure?"
Because you're collecting parts. I have gotten my parts in order, and on your show and in public, I will only reveal parts, but never in the correct order or which part it belongs to. I can't. There's an assumption, largely, that you if you found the blaze, look quickly down. This whole thing's over. You have found the box.
Right.
But that's a grandiose assumption. I mean, look quickly down. You could see a chapter from the book to confirm you're in the right place. It could be something as subtle as that. Right? I mean, there is no. The more options that we explore in possibility and opportunity, the more it becomes possible, as opposed to thinking in these absolute terms that it's going to be right there. And because why? Because you think so. Because I think so. It's an assumption that we're all making, and I found it was completely wrong. So there's more to it. I mean, once you look quickly down, you find a chapter in the book, and then you have to keep going. There's more going on in the field that you're in. Let's say, I'm in. I should just refer to myself.
So I'm having and this is just me, not you. I'm having a hard time distinguishing between.
Oh, there it is.
Between the reality of looking down and seeing a treasure chest and the alternate reality that you're describing of looking down and seeing a chapter in the book. Help me understand what you're trying to describe to me.
Well, okay. So, for instance, have you numbered the chapters?
I have, yes.
Okay, so what's chapter 20?
Oh, God. Well, I don't have that. I don't have them listed in front of me. I just have numbers. I'd have to go to each one.
Okay, well, that's Father on the Banco.
Okay.
Okay. So look at the shape of that building.
That building is their house and temple.
Right. Now, what's the word we're using there? That's a home, isn't it? Isn't that a hint in itself? And look at the shape of the roof. Now, I'm sitting on and he's talking about the banco, which another term is a bench. right? And this is also page 118, which is interesting. It has something to do with the periodic table, but I won't get into that. But meanwhile, we've got our daddy here sitting on a bumper on a car, and we're looking at a roof that has got this very dramatic 30-degree kind of pitch to it, has this shape, right? And it's home. Well, where I am at out there, Toby, is the bench exactly that shape.
Oh.
And it's the beginning of the next part, which I figured out. So you look quickly down, and your quest, in other words, my running all over all over 4 different states to find this location has come to a screeching halt. And here I am at this, at this next portion of the show here. This, as you look at the buffalo pulling the 2 wheels, that is a big, massive hint on like 2 compass headings. And, there's a lot of real subtle kind of information going on here, like how Norman Rockwell drawings play a part in you realizing you're in the right place from the drawings. There's a lot of that going on. So, the only way it'll make sense to you is if I send you the video, don't put it on the air. No. So I can send you a video of all the photographs of, the film I shot, and you can draw your own conclusion. But the deal is if you agree and you think that that I'm right, that this is the place, what do we do with that, Toby? What do we do with that? I've been trying to think about what do we do with that?
We've
all winners.
No. Davio does something with it. It's not we. If you
if you agree with me, just think of what that does right here with the community, live on screen. Ask them that question. If I make a video that's private for you and you see it and you go, holy shit, Davio 22, you crazy freaking redheaded, scientific nutty job freaking dyslexic guy. You have figured out the place. You just haven't found the treasure. Wow. Now, if you say that and you agree, what would that do? What would we do with that?
What would we do with it? I'm going to say that again. We wouldn't do anything. You would go get the treasure.
Well, when the thaw happens, right, but that means we still have all winter, Toby.
Well,
think about it. What a blast. Let's use that opportunity. This would be an opportunity to talk about imagination, creativity, subtlety, art, all the fun stuff.
Yes,
right?
and I believe
and stories.
And I believe we can have that conversation without you revealing your theory to me. Hang on, I've got to get something off the printer. I'm going to go off screen for just a sec. Hold on.
You gonna go get a printer? Okay. Well, okay. You go run to the printer, and I'll talk to the room and ask the question, and then I can.
Well, they can hear you. And ask the question because they can hear everything.
Well, I'm curious. So if the question is here, room, if I make a private video for Toby, he sees the video, he agrees with me that I have found these key points, and I reveal my key word to him, which helped him understand how I've come to said location, and I reveal to him these photographs, which are unmistakable, iconic photographs that provoke words that are in the book, right? And I show him these things. And then, and because of this, overwhelming amount of evidence, he agrees that this is the location. What do we do, ladies and gentlemen? What do we do with that? I mean, I vote for having fun and discussion. That's what I vote for.
All right. So, what have you considered the possibility? What would we do if I don't agree?
Well, I'm assuming that first. Because it's all really about the presentation, isn't it? How well I create a presentation that sells the point that makes this all possible for you to believe is really the thing, right?
So I
expect you to talk it over with Shelley and Shelley with her husband. I expect all three of y'all to get together, and your son. Oh, I would love it if you showed your son, your artist boy. I forget his name.
Jason.
Yes. Oh, because his eye, it's that kind of brain. You really have to have that kind of artist brain and kind of look at this instead of what it isn't. Think about, well, maybe, and then I'll bring up another topic, and here's another one, and you go, well, maybe. Then after a while, you got so many maybes, it becomes possible. So. Well, I'm putting together a video. It'll probably take me a week.
All right. So let me know when you have the video, and we'll continue the conversation. Do not send anything to me without the conversation.
Exactly.
Right.
Sounds fun, right?
I don't know yet. It depends on the theory.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's still the idea. I mean, we've known each other for like 2 or 3 years going on now.
Yeah, we have.
So the idea that I should reveal my whole bloody thing, and I'm so excited. Toby, I went there 4 days ago, and I was repelled by the amount of ice that was built on the road, so I couldn't go all the way in. But I've only recently, in the last month, figured out where it is to a 15 square foot area. So I'm jazzed for the freaking stuff to melt. So yes, I will show you all the way up until that point. I don't have to show you the exact point.
All right.
So I'll show you enough to get you to get your opinion on what you think of the whole concept. With photographs.
Let me know. So here's what I've done for everybody else. Right. So when everybody forces me into the position of having to take a look at their theory and give my opinion on the matter, what the opinion that I will give you is in the form of a percentage probability that you will recover the treasure. How's that?
Oh no, it'll be a yes or no. You all four of you. Let's say you, Jason, Princess, and Princess husband. Y'all get together and y'all have your opinion, but collectively you'll all decide yes or no. I know because that's how it's gone when I've shown it to total strangers and other people. Yeah. Neither the jaw hits the floor. They go, dude, you gotta lay off the mushrooms. Wow. You know what I mean? It's really, if people know a little bit about it, then and understand it, they grasp the concept, and then they see it and they go, dude, you gotta move to Wyoming.
And now you're living in Colorado.
Funny. Yes, which is outstanding because now I'm living with a family that I've never had. So it's really great. I've got an uncle and they have kids, and we all get along. It's like having, instant brothers and sisters, and then they have kids, and all of a sudden there's a whole herd of people in my life, and I was all alone, so it's great. So this is working out terrific.
All right. Oh, well, all right. I'll look forward to hearing from you first, and like I said, don't send anything until we actually have a conversation about it.
Yep.
All right.
I'll mail it to you. We'll chat. It'll be good. This will be entertaining. That's what this is about.
That's
Toby,
right.
I love you. Say hi to the Prince. Much love to the room. Everybody stay safe. Much love to everyone. Yes, namaste.
Especially now that the weather's in. You take care. Be safe. Don't do anything crazy. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Exactly. All right, brother. Talk to you later.
Okay, good. Ciao.
Bye-bye. So while Davio and I were talking, I got an email message from Rick Hunter, who says the chest is in 4 states. He says, within the first 2 minutes of the new Ripley's podcast, Forrest Fenn says explicitly that the chest is in New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, or Montana. The guy is trolling me, for God's sakes. Sometimes I wonder. So I listened to that, and you know what? I didn't notice that. I didn't notice that he said it, but now that you mention it, I now recall him actually saying it'll be in. I think he starts with Montana. He went to Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico. So he probably noticed that I'm always saying he's never said which 4 states it's in. So now I'll have to take that back. So if anybody goes to see that, hang on, it's over here. If you go to our community page, screenshot. So if you go to our community page, I put the 4-minute video on there that has Sasha and Cynthia in it, along with Forrest, and then there's a 38-minute podcast that's mostly Forrest. The 2 podcasters talk a lot about it. So I think Rick is saying within the first 2 minutes of the new Ripley podcast, and I'd like to play it here, but I can't. Copyright stuff and all that. So, and it's, go check it out. I'll go check it out after the show. And Toby never eats crow. Come on, brother. We'll make up for it. As a matter of fact, it wasn't that I ate crow. It's that Fenn trolls me. And when I say things like he's never said that it's in Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, or Montana. He goes and does it. The man is trolling me, I'm telling you. He's a troll. He's a little old troll, under the bridge living troll. Let's see. Tony loves me. Tony, in a guy kind of way, right? Let's see. Did I miss some questions? Hold on. Let me see if I've missed some questions here. You can agree with you. Okay. All right. That's we talked about that. Time for phone calls from Lead searcher. That's what I'm saying. Call in lead searcher. Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Maybe this is a lead searcher right here. Hey, this is Toby of a Gypsy Kiss. Are you the lead searcher?
No, I'm not.
Oh, rats. Okay. Well, I'm going to hang up and wait for the lead searcher. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. What's your name?
Jeremy from Michigan.
Hey, Jeremy. Oh, we've talked before, haven't we?
Yep.
Yeah. So, what's up? What's up on this Friday evening for you?
Nothing much. I have to work in the morning, so.
Well, I can't hold up my end of the call if you can't hold up your end of this call. So, but let's ask some questions or something. Let's talk Forrest Fenn here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I just want to one of his comments that he made, in the "You Shop We Ship" videos, where he says a blaze is something you can look at, or he says the blaze is a physical thing. It's not theoretical.
Yeah. Agreed. Now, you got to remember the You Shop We Ship videos are actually extracted from other videos. So what you have to do is go back to the source. I don't know whether You Shop We Ship actually indicates what the source is, but you want to go back to the source for that, and you can do that with Terry Scant. But yeah, I know what you're talking about, and yes, he did say that it was physical rather than. Did he use metaphorical? Theoretical, yeah.
But I just thought it was interesting. I always thought it was the treasures like hidden in a painting.
Tell me. Whoa. Tell me what you mean by that. What do you mean by that?
Like a famous painting that's hanging in a museum, and there's, you know how people have like a story for every painting. You know what the meaning is behind it and stuff like that. I think that's kind of what Forrest has us searching for.
So let me make sure I'm clear. So you do not believe in the existence of a 10 by 10 inch bronze box filled with gold and jewels, etc.
Nope, I do. I'm just saying that it's hard to explain, but let's say you were standing in Yellowstone where there's now houses.
Yeah.
But in a museum, there's that same scenery without the houses.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Let's say there's like a white horse.
Right
in the middle, and that's like the focal point of the whole painting.
So
if you were to take that,
let me try it in a different way. So you think that the poems are pointing us to a painting, perhaps famous, perhaps not, but painting that everyone has access to. So it has to be hung in a public, in a museum that the public has access to. And in that painting, there's a clue or an undisputable clue or hint in that painting. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So do you have any ideas? Do you have any ideas which of the paintings he might have done that? He might have used that way?
I have one that sticks out to me, but I don't know. I can't really figure it out. But
so would you care to share the name of the painting, or do you want to keep that? No, that's real. That's a yes/no question. If you don't want to share it, that's okay.
No,
I'm not going to ask you a second time. Okay.
But the painting is well known. It has like a really good message that I think would mean a lot to Forrest. And I think that's just one of those things where that's a way that he can like live on and almost be like a asterisk next to something that's bigger than him.
Meaning the painting,
so like,
the artist and this painting.
So let's say it got found tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then, from here on out, everyone associates that painting that's, famous for where Forrest Fenn hid his treasure.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So I was going to use the Gilbert Gall painting, but that Gilbert Gall painting is infamous rather than famous. But let's say, what was the painting that he referred to in the Thriller? There's that picture that, what's his name? I forgot the painter's name, of George Washington. So what you're imagining is that this famous painting of, let's say, for example, George Washington, there's a clue in there, and what you're suggesting is that even though the treasure will have been recovered by the finder as a result of understanding what's in that painting, the story of the Fenn Treasure will live as long as that painting is hanging in a museum. Is that what you're suggesting?
Kind of, yeah. It'll just make the story that much more popular, I think.
Well, you have to imagine that there are some, he had paintings passed through his hands that were, decades, if not centuries old. And so, it was especially the one. What was that? The painter that did. He was a famous. I don't know. I can't remember. I went to art school. I have a degree in arts, visual arts.
Thomas Moran, maybe?
No. The one that did Washington. Help me out, guys. Somebody would. You'd have to do it in the book. Hang on. Hold on. Let me open the book. Let me open the. Just give me one second.
The Sharp?
Was it no? It was a Revolutionary War period painting, 1700s, maybe early 1800s, and the guy that painted it had. Oh Jesus! I just shut my system down. Oh, hang on, let me cancel it. Okay.
Like the one that I think it could be at, I think is
everybody still there?
Is a really good.
Okay.
Good idea, but
this is currently active.
There's not really that much information as to the location of where that is. It's not really narrowed down that much. So
yeah.
That could be one of those things where Forrest, let's say it was in Yellowstone, he spent so much time there. Maybe it was famous, in the museums that he went to as a kid.
Yeah.
So he's, throughout his summers there, he found out where that spot was, and that's maybe one of the reasons why, it is special to him.
Well, that's a damned interesting theory, and I haven't heard one. That's a new one, and I think I think you've got a good, interesting line to follow up on.
And more to that comment that he said too. If I have a little bit more time, he says it's something you can look at. He says, but then he like contradicted himself. He said it was
where are you getting that from? Where's that?
The You Shop We Ship one where he says the blades
oh,
is
okay.
a physical
All
thing.
right.
It's not theoretical.
Well, do yourself a favor. Nothing against You Shop You Ship. He's done a very good job. He or she has done a very good job of collecting that and organizing it on his channel. But make sure you get back to the original source of that, because it's at You Shop You Ship. You're 2, 3, 4 degrees away from the original source, and you want to get back to the original source. So the artist's name, the one that painted that, everybody in the room is telling me, is Gilbert Stuart, who is well known for his paintings of many of the founding fathers. So that's what we're talking about. But I'm using that as an example. So the example that I was trying to provide you is that if you look at that Gilbert Stuart painting of George Washington, which is mentioned in The Thrill of the Chase, you think there might be something in a painting, not necessarily that one, that gives us the story necessary to find the treasure. Is that correct?
Yeah, like for example, if it was right underneath where he was standing at,
Yeah. Well, wow, interesting work, Jeremy. Great following up.
I just think that's more interesting, and I think that would last forever, or more than just like the typical.
Yeah, agreed. If the painting itself had some sort of historical foundation that gave it the kind of quality that it would hang in a museum, then yeah, I would agree with you. As a Bachelor of Fine Arts and Visual Arts, I think that would be a damned interesting take on all of that.
I agree.
So, all right. Well, thank you for calling in. It's a very original idea. I like it a lot. I'd like to hear, as you start to work this deeper and deeper into your theory and get something out of it that, causes you to go boots on the ground. Let me know. Let me see how it works out. Okay?
I will do.
All right. You have a good evening. Thanks for calling in.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys in the room noticed, but while I was talking to Jeremy, I was going to open up The Thrill of the Chase to see if I could I was going to look up Washington and then get the painter. And I don't know what happened, but I accidentally did the whole shut down my computer thing. And luckily it asked me, you've got a bunch of things running, it did that to me. You got a bunch of things running. You sure you want to shut down now? So, scary moment there. I might have gone to bed. Let's see what that did to the analytics. That probably chased everybody out of the room. Oh, it's not so bad. So that was Jeremy. That was an interesting thought, and if you expand on that, maybe there's something else that's very visual. I mean, you get a sense that Forrest is a very visual person. So maybe there is something in all of that. He's pointing us to a picture, a painting, and in that painting, there's something that helps us get closer to the treasure. Interesting. So I'm just going back for a second to see if I missed any questions. Have you done the Farolito walk on Canyon Road? Yes, Odin, I have. It's one of the most fun walks there is. There's an even more fun one in February. I'll tell you about it. Let me take this call and we'll talk about it in just a minute. Hey, you've reached Toby to Gypsy's Kiss. Do us a favor and turn off your computer so that we can get that feedback. Can you hear me okay? What's your name?
I'm sorry, this is Chris from San Diego.
Chris from San Diego. We've talked before. How are you doing tonight, Chris?
Good. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been.
So I just wanted to bring up a quick idea that I'm definitely stealing from somebody in the room.
Oh, there's nothing wrong with that. Feel free to steal.
I'll give him credit for it. I don't know. It made an idea that I used to have kind of pop up, which was the word answers in his poem. I always thought that there was some type of actual answer, because answers could mean a million things. The correct solid where you hit a treasure. But as in answers, like almost like an equation. And in The Gentleman, who I think you said you hadn't seen before, Not Important.
Yeah.
He posted like a series of 7 videos this week. And he said something that I had never heard before, which is where Fenn said, "So why is it that I must go?" If you stop it right there, so why is it? So why equals it? And I always thought it was an interesting keyword. Mm-hmm. You kind of follow what I'm saying there?
I am. I'm listening.
Okay.
So the question is, where are you going with it?
Good question. Just as in why equaling it, or it equaling why, because you're always wondering what it is. Take it in the canyon down, begin it. If it equals y, is there like a possibility that there's some type of equation in there, saying that Fenn loves to talk about how he always got D's and he was terrible in school, and how interesting it would be that there may be some type of equation that gets you to maybe like where warm water's help.
It could. I mean, he's mentioned, and we're always cautioning everybody, including ourselves, about it doesn't require specialized knowledge. But then I always remind people that this is a guy who spent a life acquiring specialized knowledge.
Totally.
From the point that he was a radar equipment repair guy, to the point that he was a pilot, which requires some sense of mathematics, if not trigonometry, and formulas, because flight is all about formulas. So it could be possible. The question is, how do you break it out? How do you decipher that? What's the context? Is the context mathematics, and if the context is mathematics, how does that affect the rest of the poem, especially the part of the poem that's the 9 clues? Right?
I have no idea.
That's the thing. How do you get past that? So let's say the context is mathematics, right?
Yeah.
Did you hear my conversation about the key word a while ago?
I did. That's why I actually called in, because I was thinking, I'm like, I gotta give him a call now.
Yeah. I mean, so the sense is, if the context is mathematics, then and you believe you have that the first kind of indication that you might be right in terms of the context, then play it out.
I've been looking at it, and if you take just the why is it, then all you have then is it equals y. That's the only part of the equation you have if you're trying to create one.
Right.
And so then I was like looking in the poem, and it's like if y equals it, then you can take y and put it up at the very beginning of the poem and begin y where warm waters halt, and then thinking maybe y goes down from there, but y doesn't seem to spell anything out from there in different ways that I looked at it. But it was just an interesting thought, and I was curious if you ever had any of those thoughts when you were looking at the poem.
Did you just say, I'm curious if you ever had any of those thoughts? Is that what you just
Just
said?
as in, like, did you ever stop and go, why is it that
You know,
I must go and think,
yeah. So the closest I've ever come to anything like that is I replaced the word "it" with the phrase "the journey."
interesting.
That's the only thing I've ever done with where I know it is a well conversed, well evaluated topic of conversation. The word "it" in the poem. But when I first got it, when I first got the poem, or got my hands on the poem, I went through the same thing. What it is he talking about? And I just I replaced it with your journey. Begin your journey where warm waters halt, and take your journey into the canyon, down, etc., etc. That's as far as I've gotten. I've never looked at it certainly from a mathematical perspective, primarily because I suck at math.
I'm terrible at math as well.
Yeah, I mean,
It just piqued my attention because I always thought there was some type of something that would give you an actual answer.
Yeah.
And then when I watched the video, I said, he's like, y equals it, or it equals y.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow, that's interesting. There's a part of an equation that I always thought might be there. So
well, and don't get me wrong, I would love to be good at math. I mean, I've always envied, any movie in which there is a chalkboard filled with lengthy equations that people in the room that are looking at the chalkboard understand. I envy that. I got as far as college level trig, I guess, and made it through that, and promised myself I'd never do anything with that again. So
I don't even think I got through Algebra 2, and I don't even know how I graduated high school. I thought that was a prerequisite.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I had for you guys. Just curious to see what the room might say about it, because I looked at this gentleman's video, Not Important, and he didn't have too many views, so everybody should go out there and watch it.
So let me see. So are they on the Fenn, on the topic of Fenn?
Yeah, if you type in Forrest Fenn and then just look at this week,
hang on,
it should pop up.
Not importante. Let's see. So it's not coming up as a channel. Do me a favor.
If you just do Forrest Fenn and then look, as in when you go to the search bar, you can make it like yesterday's video, today's video, this week.
Yeah.
It should pop up, but I can send a link in the chat.
No, it won't let you put it in the chat. Oh, here it is. Okay, so hang on.
And he has a lot more going on in his videos. That was just a brief.
All right. So I'm not going to open
ideas.
the video. I'll open his channel. So it looks like he's got about, 5 or 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So here's, if for those of you guys that haven't seen it, I haven't subscribed to it because I didn't know it was there. Hang on. Let me give you a screenshot. So that's Not Important. He now has 11 subscribers. I am going to subscribe so that he will have 12. I have no opinion on the matter of his work because I just haven't seen any, but I always like to give everybody a chance at least to subscribe to them and see what they have to say. So I'm going to strongly recommend that.
Take a look, and maybe it'll intrigue you.
So it's an old channel because he's got here, I'm going to put this, I can put it in the chat room. Here. Go take a look at his channel. There, I just put it in the chat room. M equals C squared. Christian, that is not, I don't think that's, I think you're trying to, are you trying to do E equals MC squared? Maybe that's what he's trying to do. E equals MC squared, that's, yeah. Energy is equal to mass accelerated to the speed of light to the square. Einstein's theorem. Okay.
Einstein was a smart guy.
Yeah.
Well, have a good night, Toby.
You too.
And we'll talk again soon.
Thanks for calling in and sharing. Appreciate it.
Of course.
All right. Bye-bye.
Good night.
So, yeah, go over to Not Important and subscribe to his channel, guys. Just see what he's got. No, I don't have an opinion on the matter one way or the other because I haven't actually seen it, but at least check him out. Give him a chance. See what's going on. Okay. All right, phone lines are open. I did get a recent, let me see. Hang on. Recent calls. That was Escondido. Pleasant. Oh, I got a voicemail. Oh, it's from Doug. So we got a voicemail from Doug. Let's play that out.
Toby, Doug from Canada. I don't think I want to talk about Lander. It might just cause way too many problems. So I'm going to leave that one alone. Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay. So Doug had sent me an email discussing a solution he had for Lander, but but he wasn't prepared to discuss it. That's why I didn't read the email. I think he's just confirming on a voicemail. So phone lines are open if somebody wants to call in and talk about the Forrest Fenn Treasure, or heck, anything else for that matter. So again, from Jim in Ohio, when you go to Montana, again, stay in Big Sky. Condo rentals are reasonable in the summer. Oh, where is Big Sky in relation to West Yellowstone? Hold on. Bleh. Let me go back here. Big Sky. Condos in Big Sky would be nice. If I go back. So Big Sky, Montana. Oh, that looks like a nice area. San Antonio calling. Hey, you reached a Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name? What you want to talk about?
Hey, it's LR.
Oh, hey, LR. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Thought I'd drop in a clue or two here for you tonight.
Oh, great. Let's have them and we'll share them with the room since everybody's listening.
Well, the first clue. Let's go with that. How's
All right.
that?
All right, go ahead.
Google Yellowstone National Park benchmarks.
All right, hold on. Are you asking, you want me to screenshot this?
Yeah. You can show it to everybody.
Okay.
Not just pull up the site and then you pick up a benchmark. It'll list the benchmarks.
Wait, so which site should I be going to?
It should
Just
say a
benchmarks?
list of Yellowstone National Park
List
benchmarks.
of
Benchmarks.
Yellowstone National
Benchmarks in Yellowstone
Benchmarks.
National Park.
Let's see what we got.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a list of Yellowstone National Park benchmarks. Pubs,
All right. Go
USGS.gov.
pull that up.
All right, going that. So wait. So this is the first clue. This relates to where warm water's halt?
Absolutely.
All right. Okay, so Wichita, Kansas, we're on the phone. I'll call you back in just a minute. Okay, so all I have is a big list of benchmarks by number.
Okay. Go to 12-8.
12 dash, hang on, scrolling
You
down.
see that on there?
Yeah, 12-8 FHA.
Correct.
You want me to click on that?
Sure.
Okay, we clicked on that, and we get
And
a sheet.
Oh, no, you went to the wrong thing.
It shows the latitude, longitude, and it shows a picture of the benchmark and where exactly it's
There you
located.
go. Now pick on the one down there that says 12-8.
No, that's what I'm doing. So I'm looking at the page. It'll catch up to you in just a minute. So when I clicked on 12-8, it opened up a PDF file that is a record, a physical record of that benchmark.
Correct.
Okay, so what do I do with that?
Well, then you pull that up, and you'll see the picture there.
Yeah.
And then just look at that narrative about warm waters. It mentions 2 warm waters on there.
Benchmark is about 29 feet south center of the highway, south of Warm Creek sign for northbound traffic across the highway from paved road leading northwest, set in a concrete fence post under the benchmark. Okay, so the only mention of warm is Warm Creek, and it's near.
No, go down below the picture of the road. There's a little narrative there.
So looking northwest at benchmark with orange vent on west post, Warm Springs sign, and the pullout beyond the sign. Then looking.
Okay, so we have Warm Creek and we have Warm Springs.
Now that's interesting.
And you
see
that picture with the vest, the orange vest?
Yeah.
That pole that sign is no longer there. That marks Warm Springs.
Is that what marked it?
Yeah, there's a Warm Springs that feeds Warm Creek, and then if you look up Warm Creek, you can find out where Warm Creek halts.
So hang on, let me just go see where in Yellowstone this is exactly?
It's about a couple miles inside the northeast gate.
All right, hang on. Let me take a look. Take a look here. Oops, shucks. Oh, damn it! It's a PDF file.
But I thought that would give people out there, if they were looking for a warm waters halt,
that's a pretty
they
good.
can find where that warm waters halt on Google Earth.
Yeah, that's a pretty good warm water halt. So that was a good first clue. What else you got?
The 3, that guy called in about the 3 and sports, was that Davio?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I did a thing on 3 in sports. 3 strikes are out. 3 strikes is a turkey. A 3-point shot in basketball and a field goal is 3 points.
So the sports analogy?
Yeah, of the 3.
Huh.
Because I studied, I think the 3 is important. You know, I know you mentioned about 3, 6, 9. The 3 is important in this thing because there's 9 clues and they're divided into 3 sets of 3.
Well, you've got to admit that he uses that whole 369 thing all the time. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is the copper.
Well, you know, and a pilot, when he looks for a location, he triangulates that location.
Right.
So I think he did the same thing when he hid that treasure. He knew where he was going to hide it, and he picked the starting point, and somewhere near that starting point makes a 3rd point, and it's an exact triangle according to my solution.
Wait. What do you mean it's an exact? And so I understand what you're saying, an exact triangle, but how does that tell you where the treasure is? Is it one of the points on the triangle or what?
No, by solving the poem. If you figure out, if you solve the poem, like let's say I'm the lead researcher and not the lead searcher, okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, if you put a dot right there at where warm waters halt that I just showed you.
Oh, okay. All right. And then there's another.
I go to where I believe the treasure is. There's another point on that map that has a name on it. If you put a point there, it'll triangulate, make a triangle, a perfect triangle.
And so the question, I'm going to ask the same question. Where in relation to that triangle is the treasure in your theory?
Where in relation to the triangle? It's just one of the points of the triangle.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what I was asking. So it's like an arrowhead that points to where the treasure is.
Right.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Well, everybody's been talking about intersections this last week. I'm not sure why, but it came up. So maybe that's the intersection that everybody's talking about.
Okay. And hey, maybe next Friday I'll tell you about the Homer Brown person, place, or thing.
Wait. Hold on. So we just did begin at where warm waters halt and take it in the canyon down.
The other part, if you find where it halts, the other part's easy. The canyon down, that's a piece of cake.
Well, so then what's not far but too far to walk, because that's not a piece of cake.
That's not even a clue.
Oh, it isn't? You don't think it's a clue?
In my opinion, I don't think it is.
All
or
right.
else he probably wouldn't have used it as part of a title in another book.
The follow-up book.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like he showed that journalist my secret spot in Montana. Screwed that up for me.
Because if you keep on taking the creek down through the canyon, just stay on that creek. You're going to have to find out where the put in below the Homer Brown is.
All right. I'm actually kind of mad at him right now, having taken away my ability to say that Forrest has never said it was in one of 4 states. He spoiled that now. I can't say that anymore.
Yeah, well, that's another 3 thing, too, is the 3rd state up from the bottom of New Mexico is Wyoming.
Is Wyoming?
Yeah.
All right, LR. Thank you, sir.
I'm going to try to bring you over to the Wyoming side there, Toby.
Well, you're going to have to pay for the gas then.
Yeah. I wish I could go up and see Shelley. I'm here in San Antonio.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. She's at, she and Kevin are staying in the hotel in which the conference is taking place. But it's one of those conferences literally that goes 12 hours a day. They give them lunch break and dinner break and they come back to the conference. And she's got to do that for 3 days. And she was really excited. I used to love San Antonio. I have, as a matter of fact, when I went back, So my ex-wife, my last ex-wife, and I still, actually, my first and my last ex-wives, we still talk because we have children, you know, and you can't help but talk. And I visited her with when I was in Washington, and she mentioned that one of the things that she still had, not necessarily of mine or ours, but was this box of slides, of 35 millimeter slides that I shot. And I shot them during the period 1960, 1970 to the early 1980s, and she still had them. She had kept them. And
Kodachrome.
Yeah, Kodachrome. That's right, Kodachrome 25, or Ektachrome on a good day. But one of the things I want to say to you is that I spent a lot of time in San Antonio because my station before moving to Washington was Fort Hood, Texas. So I was in that central Texas area, and I used to love to go down to San Antonio. I still do. I mean, I went after that, and I had pictures of Riverwalk developing before it was Riverwalk.
Oh, wow.
From back in the 60s and early 70s, and then I came back in the 80s, and by that time it was pretty nicely developed. And I've always the only thing I never understood about San Antonio is the humidity. It's so humid.
Yeah, that wind from the beach there. Yeah, I retired out of Fort Sam.
Oh, you did? Yeah. And I used to we used to go to another place down there called it was the river that was used to cool a nuclear plant.
Yeah, the big Mexican, all the Mexican shops and all the market square.
Well, that's downtown. This was outside San Antonio. It was called the Landa Park. Is Landa Park still there? It was a water park. Beautiful water park. Yeah. I think it was Landa Park. Or is that in Denver? Maybe that's in Denver. It's outside of San Antonio, and the water had been used to cool a nuclear power plant, so it was kind of warm.
Yeah. And so you started glowing.
And no, you didn't. No, because they don't. But it was crystal clear, and it was just there was aquatic life in it, but no fish because it was too warm for any kind of fish. Yeah. But it was crystal clear, and it had those beautiful long grasses, and it was right outside San Antonio. I remember going there. And then I went to that. I spent the year that I was there. I finished another part of my degree at UT in Austin, UTA now they call it, at the University of Texas at Austin. I was living in a town called Florence, which was about halfway between Fort Hood and Austin, a little farm to market ranching community. So I have good.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I find the treasure chest, I'll sponsor a Texas Hold'em tournament there in Temple where Forrest was born. How's that?
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. I remember that area, that central Texas area. Fished on the Lampasas and caught my first catfish. Didn't eat it, but did catch my first catfish on the Lampasas River.
All right. Well, let somebody else call in, and you take care. We'll talk to you next week, maybe.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Later.
Yeah, if you've never been down to that central Texas area, that includes Austin, San Antonio, Temple, Waco, Fort Hood. It's a really fun and interesting area. It tends to be more farm and ranching communities than anything else until you're, of course, in Austin. And Austin is just a beautiful city. But the Colorado River goes through that area, so they've dammed up, and you got a lot of lakes, Belton, Travis. There's 3 or 4 lakes on the river that make for great diving, great scuba diving. And then Austin is just a beautiful little town with all kinds of it's a big city now, but a lot of high-tech stuff. That's how I ended up in there a lot. And San Antonio is very kind of old school, beautiful river walk going through the center of town with restaurants and shops and all kinds of neat things. So it's a beautiful area. I like that central Texas area. I used to work while I was I was still in the service at the time at Fort Hood. Just before I got out, I'd come back from Vietnam and assigned to Fort Hood, and I used to work on weekends for a farmer, and I'd do all his weekend chores for him on his ranch, on his farm. He wasn't a rancher; he was a farmer. So get back to Fenn search. Tony Rusi. Toby, get back to Fenn. Sorry, guys. No, it's not that. It's are you making that up? Well, you know what? It's funny that you say the Schitterbahn, because there is a lot of German influence down there in that area. There's a couple of towns down there that have German names because there were Germans in the community. What is it? I think Landa Park's in Denver. This was a water park. Water park here. Hang on. Near San Antonio. And now let's see. Shitterbon's an a indoor. Let's see. 20 best water parks. I don't know. But anyway, when I get back these pictures, because I took some photographs there, because like I said, it was just after we had returned. We returned to Fort Hood from San Antonio. Hey, Wayne. Wayne's from San Antonio. We had returned to Fort Hood when I left Vietnam. That was my last part of the service time before I joined the NSA and moved to Washington, D.C. But it's just, at the time, it was full of all kinds of activities. And Riverwalk, I have some really beautiful slides. As soon as I get these back, I'll make some. I'll digitize some of them so you can see some of the slides that I shot on Riverwalk in San Antonio, and then diving off the various lakes, Belton, Traven. There was a third lake off there. That's where I learned. I started scuba diving when I was in Texas. Oh, it's Doug. So he wants to talk about something else. Let's see what he's got to say. Hey, Doug, what's up?
Yeah, I was just mentioning all four states are still great search areas, because I just found out research on even New Mexico has like 16 tons of gold that's been lost to time.
Oh, where did you read that?
Oh, I found it on YouTube, the top 25 missing treasures of the world.
Oh, hey, do me a favor. Send me that link. Send it to the email so I can take a look at it and see what we can make of it.
Yeah, I sent you another link about wagon box fight.
Is that the brown? Your lander solution?
Well, it's not a lander solution. It's more information about Captain
Richard Brown,
or Frederick
right. Brown. Frederick Brown.
That's where he died.
Yeah, that's it. We did a bunch of. If you're at all interested in that, I literally have a Manila folder.
Oh, I have everything.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
and I watched the video.
My video?
I watched the video after I was yapping about finding like a million mono inlanders of all 9 clues.
Okay. All right. Well, you're way ahead of me then.
Oh, yeah. Well, my bet with me is I got a $1 bet with myself that I can solve everything at home before I go.
Wow. So you're going to be one of those searchers that goes with confidence? Poor Ella.
Yeah. I don't have the book. Everything is based on the first 2 years of his discussions.
Yeah. So hang on just a second. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to put you on hold for just a second, okay?
Yep.
So I just want to let the moderators in the room know that Shitterbon really is a water park. They're not just cussing, so you don't have to block them. There is a Shitterbon water park just outside of San Antonio. Okay, you're back.
Okay. Anyways, all 4 states are great search areas for millions of dollars of gold and treasure.
Oh, sounds like fun. Why are we wasting our time with this little dinky one then?
Well, no, what it is I think our searchers should bond these things together. So when they're out in their search areas for, Fenn's treasure, they should keep it in the back of their mind that, there's other lost treasures over, time from all kinds of battles that, the troops, the American troops of Midwest and the trains, the wagon trains coming back with many, many pounds of gold from the gold rush got ambushed and lost to time.
Well, I'm laughing because now everybody's just typing Shitterbon in the. You guys are going to get me on. Let's see, there's not okay.
Anyways, I don't want to get you into too much trouble because everyone figures that being so far away, I have no chance of solving anything.
You know what? You have
unfortunately,
you have a chance that is equal to anyone else that is looking for the treasure. That is my opinion.
well, I already figured out the money pit solution.
Oh, you did? Wow.
That stone marker.
Yeah.
That stone marker is an IOU saying that they moved the treasure.
Is this the Oak Island thing?
Yeah, money pit.
Oh,
Another stone that's involved.
I think
and John Wayne.
I think I gave up on them after the third season because they just never seemed to make any headway.
Yeah, well, no, that's because it's already moved.
Oh, okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
That marker was to explain where it was moved to.
So are you familiar with other treasure hunts as well? Have you researched?
Oh, everything.
Wow.
My biggest thing is I've been following this all the way back from the Crusades, all the treasure that came out of all the way from there into Europe, and even the story that the treasure moved to North America. Everyone keeps thinking the treasure is leaving North America, like by the Spanish.
Yeah.
But no, it's been moved the other direction here to North America.
Yeah.
Even all the German gold and stuff, people were hiding all that gold, from World War II. It came over here, trying to hide it away from the Germans.
Yeah. Well,
so
why don't you come out to New Mexico and let's look for some of those babies?
Well, I have to work on a thing. I've been out of work for over 9 years looking after children.
No.
So
nobody. Wait a minute. Nobody is out of work, unquote, for 9 years. You're retired. You're not out of work. Let's be honest.
Well, we got by for 9 years, and my main job was
watching kids.
I became the wife of the house.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
So I'm more woke than any person down in the United States.
Yeah, I've heard other Canadians say that as well too. All right, brother. Thanks for calling in.
You get back to your show. That's just getting silly now.
All right. Let me know when you're headed for the North Shore.
You have a great time, and I've been picking up all your shows. I thought it was weird that your sand thing got left, the chat got left on all day or something.
No, you know what it was? We were having trouble. Remember I told you that 2 of our shows had just crashed on us? What I was trying to do
You got that solved?
I do have it solved. I finally figured out what it was. The background, our background video, the one with a seashell in the back.
Yeah.
I had downloaded that from a site that and paid for it, but it was a 4K video, so the GPU was just going crazy trying to process it. So that's what was causing it. So I got that fixed.
Any other questions for me, or
not at the moment? I'll think of something. I'm sure.
I have all the answers.
All right. Well, I'm sure you do.
I've been studying I've been studying university stuff for the last 9 years when I've been stuck at home.
Well, you know what I want to do is maybe
I'm a math professor.
I want to get you and John Bobbin on the same Zoom call so that you guys can go at it.
Yeah, and I'm a geologist, professor, so forth and so on.
Yeah,
and history buff.
Yeah. All right.
So I got many special skills. Anyways, you have a great one, and I'm not trying to think. I don't have no certificates for my wall though. That kind of bugs me.
Well, we'll get something for you, I'm sure.
Okay. Anyways, great, Toby.
Have a good evening.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, so this is the place I was talking about. There is and thank you, Sarah. It's Schlitterbahn. It's probably how it's pronounced, Schlitterbahn, rather than how I was pronouncing it incorrectly, and probably going to lose my monetization for it. That's Landa Park, and it's a beautiful park in New Braunfels, and that New Braunfels is the center of that area of Central Texas that was inhabited by members of the German community. That's why it's New Braunfels. So I'm going to go back to full screen. Hey, okay, wait a minute. You've reached the Gypsy's Kiss. What's your name, and what are you calling about? Oh.
Yep, I'm sorry. Hold on, Toby.
All right.
Whoop.
You got to turn your audio off. We got about 3 minutes.
Okay. My name is BJ. And
Hey.
I'm from Mississippi.
BJ from Mississippi?
Yeah.
So what do you got to say, BJ from Mississippi? What part of Mississippi are you from?
Close to Tupelo.
Oh, well, that's a Tupelo. Isn't that the home of Elvis Presley? Isn't that where Elvis was born?
Yeah, that's correct.
I'll be darned. Okay. So what do you got to tell us about Forrest Fenn's Treasure?
Well, I've been on the hunt for, I guess, about 8 years now. 7 years, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And, I've been out about 11 times and been out quite a number of times. But, one thing I was wanting to bring up is that it seems like each sentence is a theme of some type. And I hadn't heard a lot about no paddle, except, no blank up the creek and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that's what that stands for.
What do you think it stands for?
Well, I think it's a direction. And based on that, I base that off of searching for certain items like, like the point where he says secret where. We know that's from the Fairy Queen.
Yeah.
And he uses
Wait. Why do we know that's from the? You just threw that stuff in there. Why do we know that's from the Fairy Queen?
Well, I'm saying that I think it is.
Oh, okay.
Let me back up.
All right.
And the reason I think that is that if you search for secret where, you're not going to find anything. But the Fairy Queen has the treasure and the whole barrel of wax.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
In that poem.
Okay, that's fair.
And other words that he combines marvel gaze and Terry scan and no paddle, and there's not much discussion on no paddle. And
so you're saying it. You're saying it very funny, like no paddle. You're saying the phrase "no paddle" like it's not associated with up your creek. There'll be no paddle up your creek. Is that intentional? Are you doing that intentionally?
No paddle up your creek. Creek has something to do with it.
Yeah.
And I think that in just heavy loads and water high, all that ties together because of that colon.
Yeah.
And the colon indicates that it's strongly connected to the previous structure in that sentence.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you've evolved a nice little theory. Because how many times did you say you've been boots on the ground?
11.
Over the past, 6 or 7 years?
Yes.
All in the same state or the various states?
No, I've been in every state.
Oh.
Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico.
And so where based on how far along you are in the evolution of your theory, where are you looking now?
New Mexico.
Oh, part of one of our New Mexico.
So I've been in New Mexico for 6 to 5 years.
Oh, so you ended up in New after looking the other states. You ended up in New Mexico.
Right.
All right.
I started in Colorado, and then I went to Wyoming and Montana.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I evolved down into New Mexico, and of course, one of my sons, he married someone from Rio Rancho, so his wife is currently there, and he's in Austin, Texas.
Why are they separated?
Because he's in physical therapy school. They got married last June. They had dated for 6 years, and they got married, and she went to work for Sandia Labs.
Uh-huh.
So she went to work there. She graduated from Vanderbilt. So.
Oh, nice. What's her degree in?
So I'm going to be out there quite a bit because they just bought a house in Albuquerque.
So she's presently in Rio Rancho, but they bought a house in Albuquerque?
That's correct. Her parents live in Rio Rancho.
Right. That's where Shelley lives in Rio Rancho. She's about 15, 20 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit further north in Bernalillo.
Yeah, Bernalillo. Yeah, that's where I usually stay when I come to New Mexico.
Because it's near the Sandia Casino, that's why.
No.
You don't gamble?
No, I got plenty of casinos in Mississippi. I don't go to casinos.
Yeah. All right, sir. Well, thank you for calling in, and keep us up to date on how your theory evolves and what are the things you're picking out of the poem. And maybe next time you'll just give us one of your favorite hints. How's that?
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
All right. Bye-bye.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Name this tune. Do you remember this tune, guys? This will tell you how old you are. I can't whistle. Never mind. That's not. Okay. Hey, boom. This has been Lonesome Tobe tonight. Missed my partner. Just, you realize how much fun she is when she's around, when she's not around anymore. But this was this particular symposium was important to her, and I know she's worked hard to get there. So thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you found the show entertaining, educational, and informative. At least one of those. Doesn't have to be all three. And I hope you had as much fun as I had on this side, because I thought it was a lot of fun. The time goes by really, really quick, doesn't it? So Shelley and I will be back next Wednesday. Make sure you go to last week's show and make a comment so that you can qualify to win the prize package. And that way everybody will be happy. You guys have a good night. Have a great weekend. And stay safe. Stay out of that weather.